Hey, here we are, day 33 of our time together. We are almost at a close, not quite, but almost. I'm hoping that today you took a little bit of time to go through the kind of the summary sheet of your program, right? It's actually a really important part of the process, right? To identify where you've been, what your big breakthroughs were, what your kind of big struggles and challenges were, and how you came through that, and what your biggest realizations and learnings and takeaways are, as well as what you're going to do moving forward once you escape or you're released from the bubble of the safety and the protection and the kind of the coaching sphere that you've been engaged in, right? This is really important. As I said in the actual the written work for that video, for that training itself, what I found is that there's a real clear division between the people that actually do that and the people that kind of just, I don't know, like fade out of the program, that kind of leave the program and just kind of get on with life, right? Once that bubble bursts, once that happens, there's a huge danger of this just being one of those interesting things that you did once and you put away in a notebook. I really don't want that for you, so I want you to bring this to life, right? So that's really important. Your biggest enemy, I'm hoping that you've kind of seen here, right? There's two main enemies, you could say, but the biggest enemy in many respects is imprecision. Because imprecision allows us to dilute our commitments, right? It allows us to kind of avoid meaningful action, because if we're imprecise, and if we're imprecise in our language of other people, like instead of saying, yeah, I'll do my appointment with you, or we'll jump on a call Thursday at 2. We say, oh yeah, let's see if we can hook something up this week at some point, right? It allows dilution. It allows for meaningful action to disappear and dissipate out of the picture. And so what I want you to get in the habit of is holding yourself accountable to more explicit, specific, and precise language. It's the biggest danger you face going forward. This week, I'll try some stuff. Right? Next week, I'll try some other stuff, versus this week, I'm going to call 6 people. I'm going to have a conversation with them. I'm going to put a post out on Thursday. I'm going to shoot a video on Friday, whatever it's going to be, right? This has got nothing to do with marketing specifically or anything like that, right? It's got to do with you making these commitments. And by this point in the program, you've learned why that's so important. Your brain is, the one thing you can't hide from is your own brain, right? Things slip into the subconscious and all the rest of it. Your brain is constantly monitoring. And your brain is constantly asking, do I have a really good sense of prediction and response? Do I have a good prediction for what I'm doing this week, when I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, what my commitments are? Do I have a good prediction for responses that would serve me to put in place? Or am I just going to play everything by, kind of play it on the fly and just see how it goes, right? Your brain is a pattern recognition machine that is seeking prediction all the time so it could create the appropriate responses. And the more you do that, the more you get to go and play in the human parts of your brain. The less you do that, the more you get trapped in what we termed as the animal sections of the brain, right? And whether that be the paleo mammalian brain, the old mammalian brain, or whether that be the reptilian brain. So the indicator of both is when you're in your human brain, you're creative, you are playful, you are joyful, you are logical. You've got all of these kind of aspects going for you that really indicate and kind of highlight the humanity of a person. Once prediction and response is out of the picture, the animals start to kick in a little bit more, and the animals become a lot more concerned with who am I connected to, what might they think, how might they be judging me right now, and am I safe, am I safe, am I safe? Effectively, the brain is constantly asking, am I safe? And if it hears the question yes, and remember how I told you the brain decides if it's safe is if it has a prediction and response. It's that simple. If that is true, and it absolutely is, then it would serve you to have the best quality prediction and response. And that's all ESP is about. We're saying exact, specific, and precise so that we can have the best quality of prediction possible for us, right? So that's the first invitation. The first enemy, the first thing that's really going to trip you up when you leave this program, if you're not very aware of it and if you're not very intentional about it, is that vagueness is going to start to sneak back into your language. So really be on the lookout for that. I'm always on the lookout. I can tell you that anytime things start screwing up for me, it's where I've actually unwittingly let vague come in. right? Where I've said, oh, I'll get that done at some point today. And my wife asked me if we want to do something, and I'm kind of like, yeah, that'd be nice. But I don't say yes, we'll do it at 2:00. So 2:00 comes around, and she says, oh, I thought we were going to go out for a coffee or a lunch or something, and I'm still not ready, and I'm still not in that place. Well, no, I said I'd go, but right. So you get the picture. Exact, specific, precise is a vital tool, as is JATFQ. Just answer the fucking question whenever you get stuck. Whenever you get stuck, right? It's nearly always because our brain runs on into this. It's working too hard to create the predictions and the responses, and usually because you haven't gone ESP, right? So if you're not exact, specific, and precise about the thing right now that's right here in front of you, your brain will say, well, you haven't told me that, so now I've got to try and figure out that, and then I've got to try and figure out that, and then I've got to try and figure, oh shit, what am I supposed to do, right? And so your defense against that, your defense against kind of running off into this mad cascade of future negative predictions is just to come back and just answer the fucking question. The biggest problems that you face in your life are a series of questions that need answering. Just find one question and answer it. Then once you've answered it, find another question and answer it, right? Life is a series of strung together questions and problems and challenges and obstacles, right? But if you look at them all at once, you are in kind of very real terms. Yeah, this is a technical term, so you might want to write this down, but you are fucked, right? If you try and actually address all of those things at once, you're fucked. So bring it back. Just answer the fucking question, one thing at a time, right? Next, many of you have mentioned that actually things like aches and pains have been dropping off of you while you've been on the program, and that kind of a lot of the stiffness and a lot of the soreness and a lot of the meds that maybe some of you have been on, including antidepressants and SSRI, all kinds of stuff, are actually you're not needing as much, and you're getting through the day. This isn't just about positivity, okay? If your pain is going down, there's nothing there's nothing kind of weird and woo-woo going on here. The anterior cingulate cortex, remember that part that's monitoring all your social connections and your social hierarchies and everything else. The anterior cingulate cortex is also the center of the brain that is most related to pain. Okay, the center of the brain that's most related to pain. It has the highest number of opiate receptors in the brain as well, right? So as we know, kind of opium and morphine-based drugs and all those kind of things, they're painkillers, which means, right, in very, very real terms, that when you are taking care of your social connections in the way that we've been describing during this program, your body is giving you all of the natural kind of signals that you are fine and there is no need for pain. See, pain isn't a bad thing. And whether that pain be physical pain, whether it be emotional pain or whatever, pain is not a bad thing. Pain is simply a signal. It's a signal that's saying to you, you need to change your approach, because if you don't, something very bad might happen to you. So your brain would actually rather send you pain signals than actually put you into physical or mental trauma, right? And so when you feel emotional, particularly negatively emotional, when you feel pains and there's no real reason for the physical pain, like you haven't been hit by a car and you haven't fallen down a flight of stairs and there's no wound on your body, and yet your back or your knees or your shoulders or your neck or whatever is in pain, just understand that that's the anterior cingulate cortex at play, speaking to you about something that needs to be addressed, right? And that's something that needs to be addressed will nearly always be social, but that even those social things, they always come back to you. How well defined are you right now? How exact, specific, and precise are you being about your language around your relationships and your connections with other people? Okay, so hopefully that's making sense, and hopefully that's a bit of an explanation for you about why some of the magic in this program has occurred for you, and why even things that are seemingly unrelated are happening for you, why you're not suffering as much aches and pains, why you're not as down and dark and all of that kind of stuff. Well, it's all to do with the very specific work that we've been doing. So it's not surprising to me at all. Well, that might be to you, right? The human brain is a wonderful thing to me. I'm like a brain geek. I'm addicted to this. Psychology, okay, it kind of, it's a fun thing to learn. But when you start digging into the neuroscience of things and you actually understand what's going on at a brain level, you can make some really, really big changes. And every part of this program has actually been designed to elicit very, very specific responses, including the dark, right? So as remember back in the earlier stages of the program, I said we're bringing the dark on purpose. And that we bring the dark on purpose because that's how your brain actually learns to find its way back to the light, right? If you want to stick with that metaphor. So it's all been designed with very, very specific endpoints in mind. So when I'm starting to see people kind of go through their final mission there, and they're saying where they were and where they are now and how they feel about things and all the rest of it. It's wonderful to see, but it's not surprising to me at all. But it's still beautiful to see, right? So keep up this work. Keep up this work. Don't slacken off. Don't allow yourself to be pulled back into your old habits, because you will. Like the first shitty thing that happens to you once you escape the bubble of this program, and you'll find your brain will try to resort back to old habits, ways it did things before. And when that happens, just pause and ask yourself a better question. What I would suggest you do is that every day, you've been in the program for 30 days, but every day for the next 30 days, go back over the notes that you've taken from this program. Like literally read them every day. Like go to a coffee shop if you must, sit down, have a cup of coffee, and just read your notes every day for 30 days until the point where you're kind of bored of them and you're going, I read this yesterday and read it the day before. Like, don't worry about it. Allow yourself to be bored if you must, right? But keep meeting this same information, keep meeting this same material, and keep meeting yourself as the person who's doing this work. You're by no means done with this work, by the way, right? This is a lifetime's work. And you could quite easily ask yourself these questions every day of the month, every month of the year, every year of your life from now on, right? If you just basically went 30 day, 30 day, 30 day, and just kept looping it over and over again, you would have an incredible experience of your life. So, kind of just bear in mind, the work isn't done. The work is never done, right? And it's going to require you to stay on top of it. I've got a couple more bits and pieces to put in for you over the weekend, and then kind of come Monday, our time together will be kind of done. If you have any catching up to do in the program, please do it. I don't want to come Tuesday. I don't want to have to lock you out with the program only partially done, or with you feeling that you haven't kind of been given the opportunity for the last things. Make sure you get that done. Also, I'll put a link beneath this video, but I did request a few days ago for those of you that are willing to, just to say a few words about the program. And it's not for you to sell the program for people and really persuade them that they should come on or any of that kind of stuff, right? I'm not after any bullshit. I'm not after any hype. I'm certainly not after any lies, right? But I would love to hear your true thoughts about your experience in the program and what it's done for you and all that kind of stuff. And that would be just really, really helpful to me in sharing that with other people and hopefully filling the next program, which I want to start in about a week's time. Okay. So if you could do that for me, that would be awesome. If not, there's no expectation here, right? There was never an agreement that you would do that, and there is no expectation. It's just a request. So if you're okay with doing that, that's fantastic. Over the weekend, I'm going to tell you about, a lot of people have asked me what's next. What can I do next with you? How can I kind of stay on this journey? Of course, I have a few ideas about that. So I'll speak to you about that over the weekend. But for now, if you've got anything to be finishing up. If you've got anything that you want to delete from the group, for example, a few people have said to me that they're okay with most of it, but there's a few answers, for example, in some of the questions that they wouldn't want like haunting them in the back of their mind forever, that's being on the site. If you want to go back through and edit any of your answers, or even delete them if you must, but if you want to edit any of your answers and just kind of blank out some names or blank out some of the problems or challenges that you shared here in the group, completely understandable, and I advise you to do that. Again, do it before Tuesday. So I'm going to give you access up to and including Monday, but by Tuesday you'll be locked out of this group and so you won't be able to delete anything, right? So this is on you. If you don't want it in there, it's on you to delete it or to kind of erase certain questions or answers or whatever it is, right? So as long as we're in agreement for that, right? So it's not something I'm going to be coming back to kind of 4 years from now and you saying, hey Dex, can you go in there and delete it? Because the answer will be no. Make sure you do it if you want to, right? Of course, what I would hope to some level, and this is completely on you, but what I would hope to some level is that actually what you've exposed and what you've shared is actually already out there. It's breathing already, right? It would be a shame for you to kind of start kind of pulling things in and start hiding them again. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that if you really feel strongly about it, but you've brought some of these things to light for the first time. For some of you ever, but B, certainly for a very, very long time. And there's a part of me that would wish for you to actually just kind of be with the fact that you've exposed yourself in that way. But I completely get it, and I don't want you to be under any form of threat by knowing that you've got something floating around in one of my groups that you really wouldn't want somebody else to know about, right? Particularly if you've got any sneaking suspicion that somebody that you know may actually join this program at some point in the future. I definitely wouldn't want to put you under threat for that. So you make your own decision for yourself. And I respect it, of course. So if you've got any questions or any points about the program for me, I would love to hear them. If not, then I will be back again tomorrow and sharing with you a few ways that we can maybe do something together in the future. And again, there is no expectation whatsoever, just a simple invitation. All right, speak to you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.